Hi, scholars. So, we're here today to have a candid conversation about what you wish you had known before going to college and sharing some of your perspective with young people coming behind us, um, advice, tips, just the real things that you don't read on the college brochure or when you take the college tour.
So my name is Dejana Savage. I am a junior at the University of Maryland College Park, studying criminology and criminal justice, seeking a minor in law and society.
I'm Althea Guevara. I go to Virginia Commonwealth University. I'm a senior and I'm studying cinema.
My name is Amir Hood. I'm a freshman, business administration major with a concentration in finance and a minor in computer science, and I attend the illustrious HBCU Morehouse College.
My name is Deontay Lewis. I'm a senior. My major is business management. I minor in entrepreneurial studies, and I go to the first HBCU, Lincoln University, and it's not Cheney.
My name is Anasia. I'm a senior at the one and only Xavier University of Louisiana, biology, pre-dental major.
My name is Mick. I graduated from Temple University with a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice and a minor in Japanese and Psychology, and I currently attend University of Maryland Francis King Carey School of Law as a first-year student.
My name is Jerome Hinkle Jr. I am a sophomore studying psychology at the #1 public HBCU, North Carolina A&T.
So far, I know it's a loaded question, but so far, what do you think? What do you think about college? I know some of you just started, some of you are on your way out, some of you made it out of undergrad. How has college been for you thus far?
College has been great. I love college. And I feel as though ever since I've been to college, or ever since I stepped foot at college, I've grown as a person. I feel as though my determination increased, my mindset has gotten made more mature, and the people I surround myself with at school has helped me grow as a person.
I feel like college, like looking back, was like a choose your own adventure game. Like it was just a series of tests. Like you have this choice, you have this choice. Do you want to take this class, hang out with these people, choose this major? So it feels like it was like a lot of tests and like you pass in your own way, sort of. Like I got the degree and I finished. So like there are definitely some different answers I could have chosen, but I think that it's sort of like a series of tests that you can look back on and say, oh, I made it through.
I definitely agree. I would say that like college for me has been a continuation of basically triumphs. I definitely entered, my freshman year still reliant on my mother for that, guidance and everything, and making sure that I get this done by this time and everything. And, going through college, basically becoming my own person and depending on myself, but also facing my personal issues as well as academic challenges. So,
For me, I would say college has been fun, and just being able to meet new people, network, and learn things about yourself and the others around you has been a very great experience to have.
It's hard. It's hard. I work, I go to school, and then I'm also trying to have like a social life and then trying to make my way out through the world. It's juggling all of that. It's hard. But I do agree with everyone else. Like in itself, it is a really good experience because I like learning, but it's hard.
That's the part that nobody else wanted to say, I think.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get to it. Don't worry, we'll get to it. What are the aspects? You touched on it briefly. We're just going to keep going deeper. What are some of the elements of college life? It could be all aspects that you really, really like.
I would say for me, the athletics. I was an athlete, student athlete in high school. Well, from elementary school all the way to high school. I had stopped because of injury, and I didn't really want to, I need my hands as I want to pursue dentistry, and I didn't really want to hurt myself any further. I enjoy having the freedom to still experience athletics without having to depend on athletics to pay for my education, but also, being able to attend those games and activities and still enjoy myself and still have that piece of me that I had in high school and before.
I think
I feel something similar, even though I'm not like a really big fan of sports, but I did love like the camaraderie. Like I didn't ever make it to a football game during undergrad, but I did go to like basketball games and gymnastics meets, and like the energy in that room during like home games or home matches was just like so electric, and it feels like so good to like know that like it's just one thing uniting all of you. Like you went to the same school, even if it's like not the same major, even if you weren't there at the same time. Like I meet alumni from my school all the time, and like I really love that feeling of coming together and like having it gave like a whole new facet to my identity. Like I was like, you know,
The
Mick.
camaraderie,
Yeah,
right?
like I was like Mick, and then I was this, and then I was that, and then I became like a
A
Temple
terp.
Owl.
Oh, it's an owl.
And a Terp. Well, I'm a Temple Owl because I went to undergrad and then I went to law school and now I'm a Terp too. So it's like I'm gaining all kinds of new communities.
What else? What else do you love about college?
Um, I would say the freedom that you have, it forces you to grow up, make those decisions like y'all were talking earlier. You pick this, you pick that. And to also go off what they were saying, just the pride, aside from the athletics, just the pride of going to your school. Like, for example, I have Aggie Pride, and that's known worldwide. But just the pride of going to different schools, it sticks with you, and it builds a bond with people you probably would have never met if you didn't go to college.
I definitely agree. I like walking into a room. You know, we were having a conversation about dental school and how the admissions director at Howard Dental School, which is my top choice, is a Xavier alum. So, like, walking into different spaces and you just automatically connect with someone, like Mick said, just based on your past experience as an alum of a certain institution. So, I like that.
For me specifically, I'll probably say the AUC community and the brotherhood that's at Morehouse. That's really stands out to me the most.
Yeah. And Morehouse has a
Very strong.
a long history, right? And I can imagine when you walk on the campus, you could probably even feel that energy, right?
I would say opportunity. Like when you were in college, it's like you could really do anything that you want to do or be who you want to be, find yourself, and just try new things. If you don't like this, you could try that. You feel me? Like you can really just tune in on who you want to become, and the tools are there, the resources.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like the independence that you have when you're in college is like, it's amazing. You can do so many things, and it's a lot of learning yourself. Like, a lot of people are young when they go into college, and they're learning how to be an adult. So you're trying new things, you're meeting new people, like-minded individuals, for instance, and it really allows you to grow. So
I will also say one more thing. The respectability that you get just about being a college student, whether that be from your friends or your family members, like a lot of family members kind of look to me for advice now because I am a first generation college student. So it's like, you've done this, tell me about it, or what do you think about this? Even though I still have a lot more to experience in life, but just because I'm in college, you know, I feel like my family members respect me more and respect my opinions more. So.
And the discounts.
What about, I know there are some other things we haven't talked about, like relationships, you know, connecting with professors, even mentors, advisors, and those, not all of those experiences may be positive all the time, but even the experiences where you're like, this doesn't really feel right. Like you're still learning from that, right? Has anyone done any internships or study abroad or anything like that? You want to share?
Yeah, I would say
What made you decide to study abroad? Like,
honestly, I wanted to go to Japan like really badly. I've been speaking Japanese since high school. I wanted to go on a trip to Japan during high school, but we couldn't afford it. So I was like, okay, college is really going to be my chance. And then the COVID-19 pandemic said, no, it's not. So the summer that I was planning on going, Japan still had its borders closed. So I ended up going to Italy instead. And I was like super upset at first. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to go to Italy. But like I ended up really branching out. And I think that being in Italy sort of helped me gain a little bit of self-confidence. Like I thought I was like really good. Like I was about to go into my senior year. I felt super confident in myself. I was like, yeah, I'm cool. And then I went abroad and like nobody I knew was on that study abroad trip. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm a freshman all over again. How do I make friends? And then I was working at a law firm like in Italy. So I was like, what's even the etiquette behind this? I forgot to bring like a blazer and a dress suit. I mean, a dress shirt. So I was like I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find something to wear. Like it was a lot. And I think that sort of reaffirmed my confidence going into senior year. And then going to senior year is when I did my, I think at that point, that was my second internship with the public defender's office. And I sort of got to feel like a real like city girl. Like I was getting on the train and going to the courthouse, So I think that the relationships that I built over time, like with people in the public defender's office, with people in Italy, sort of helped me, regain my sense of focus. It was like, oh, like I have people that are I can always find people. Like I have people, like I was saying before, like I'm united.
Support network.
Yeah. And like, even if I don't know them, we're united simply because we go to the same school.
Before I get into what you don't like about college, have any of you had in your desired fields, because all of you have niche areas and or industries that you're interested in going into, or you may still be trying to find that out or figure that out, and that's okay because that's what it's about. Have any of you had even if it's just one professor or one mentor? It may not be a professor, maybe it's a fraternity brother or a sorority sister or somebody that like really left a positive impression on you, where you're like, oh, you started learning things about the industry like dentistry or cinema or law, criminal justice, right? Psychology. You say, oh, yes, like this is definitely what I want to do. You know what I mean?
If I could go again. I was a criminal justice minor my freshman year, and then I took criminal justice with this one professor. I don't know if she'll ever see this, but Professor Metzger. And she was just the sweetest lady and really got me into criminal justice. So I switched my major. And like I was always participating, and she was one of those professors that like let you, when you put in that effort and that showed that interest, she like nurtured that. And so one time she emailed me, I think like at the end of my freshman year, and was like, hey, like you should look into the pre-law society. Like you would definitely make a great lawyer. And I'm like, nah, so I just like forgot that. And I guess it was like, like growing in the back of my head for like 2 years. And then once I decided I wanted to go into law, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And there was another professor, Professor Irons, who helped me get an internship. And I remember saying that I didn't want to be a prosecutor because I felt like as a Black person, I felt like it was wrong to contribute to like mass incarceration. Mm-hmm. And like she said this one thing that has always stuck out to me and really made me reconsider my field. She was like, would you rather there be no Black people working for the prosecutor's office and only white people? And I was like, oh, that actually sounds horrible. So, it takes one person to sort of change your perspective. You got to find those professors. The professors that seem like they're being like really hard on you, those are the ones that are like actually trying to push you to do something incredible. So you really need to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, what are they trying to get me to do?
Thank you for that.
I definitely agree. I would say, okay, when I speak of Howard, even though I go to Xavier, when you talk about impressions and like that really changed my trajectory on what I wanted to do, first I wanted to be an OBGYN. But I went to a program called Hope Yes at Howard University, and Dr. Barham, who is a part of the Howard Dental School, she basically allowed me to interact with different Howard Dental students, and she observed me and basically was like, you're good at what you're doing. You're performing as well as or probably better than some of my current dental students. You should consider. And that kind of changed my whole perspective. I started to pick up, community service hours at different dentist offices and everything. And then once I got to college, just reassuring that I'm capable of, because college, like we said before, is hard. Reassuring that I'm capable, even if, you get a C or you may fail a test or something. My advisor, Dr. Awad, he really, guided me with that, as well as my genetics and microbiology professor, because I didn't really grasp how to study or my study habits. So just teaching me, you know what I'm saying, and guiding me on that so that I'm able to move forward and not look down on myself because I'm not doing well at that moment, that really helped.
That's awesome. Anybody else?
I definitely have had a few like I've always been interested in cinema and just like the industry as well, but just being like a woman who's a minority, there isn't a lot of us out there. So I've had a couple of professors that they've just given me the confidence where it's like if I do get behind the camera, like I think of it as nothing, but when they bring it up, they're like, oh my God, like that's so creative that you did that. Or like other professors, like in post-production, they're like, that was a really good decision of you putting like this wide shot first. Like small comments like that definitely gave me more confidence coming into like an industry where like people already have confidence and they need to be humbled a little bit versus what I came into it. So I definitely got a lot of confidence from just my abilities as to what I had, because I went into it kind of like everyone doesn't know anything, or not everyone doesn't know anything, but more like everyone's learning with me, while other people came in where it's like I know everything. So it was kind of difficult to navigate that, and then difficult to just even hold my own, because I would always doubt myself, because I was like, well, they know better, they may not know better or whatever. But after a while I was like, no, I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for a
Believe
little
in your
bit.
creative genius.
Yeah.
Right?
For me, I feel like it was the total opposite. So coming out of high school, I went to McKinley Tech in DC, which is a STEM school, science, technology, engineering, math. So I was an engineering student. I was really well at it. I did all types of engineering. And when I was leaving to go to pick my schools and stuff, I know that my professor kept telling me, do engineering, do engineering, do engineering. And I'm just like, you keep telling me to do this, I don't want to do it. So I just lost the passion for engineering. So I just kind of gravitated myself towards business, because I know I mentioned before that I wanted to start my own clothing line in high school, but I just didn't have the money to. So after I went to Morgan State, I joined the military, had funds, and I was in accounting. And then after I left, I was able to start my own clothing line my sophomore year of college. And it's successful right now. So I feel like, and then the professors and everything that I have at school, and the head chair and everything in the business department kind of like made me love business. That's how I know business really well. So.
For me, it was two professors in the psych department, Walter Brickhouse and Marvin Fields. They were two professors that I see actually care, and having professors like that make you understand, make you feel as though you made the right choice in your major and that you're doing a good job in your major. And being two black men, that's not something we see all the time, because, for example, I had a black psych class. There's 50 people on the roster, only 8 boys in the class, only 4 of us were actual psych majors. So it's like coming into that, it's not a lot of us in those spaces. So just saying men that care means a lot.
That's awesome. Okay, so on the flip side of the coin, what are some of the things, and let's be, of course, inclusive and also mindful of, how we frame it, right? But still being honest. What are some of the things that either you don't like about college, and it could be, that's a loaded question, right? It could be your campus, certain things you don't really care for about the campus, or the environment, certain things that seem to be working or not working on campus, right? Like, or should I frame it to say, what are some things that you wish that you would have known prior to walking on your campus?
You got to be money smart.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, there's no two ways about it. You got to know how to manage your money. And it gets harder and harder the more well, I would say it might get easier over time, because once you feel more confident and you're better at like picking up jobs and stuff like that, then it could be a little bit better. But like, especially if you're coming from, somewhere where you don't have like loads of family support where they could just support you. Like, my family definitely helped me out a lot, but I was also working, and I had to make sure that I managed the money that they did give me. It wasn't like I had like a infinite ATM or anything like that, even though I wish I did. Like, you really have to be reasonable with yourself. But also on the flip side, you have to really like learn when to treat yourself. Like, it's like not always like, oh, like I can't go out, like I spent too much money yesterday. Like, I mean, if you're doing good, you know, you have all your ducks in a row and people are going out, like don't pass up opportunities. Like money is meant to be spent. Like that's what it's for. And it's meant to be saved too, but you know, it's if you have it, you know, enjoy your experience and don't look back on something and regret it just because you were like, "Oh, well, I didn't have $1 million in the bank, so I shouldn't have did that."
Definitely tuition. Sorry, like tuition gets higher every semester, not even every year, every semester. And like this year, like FAFSA hasn't even opened yet. Like FAFSA is getting pushed back now and it's getting even more rigorous. So like, will I qualify? I don't know. Like it's getting more difficult to navigate things just to even go to college and pay for college. So I personally, I can't use the word I hate that because it sucks. Like, and then some advisors, because of like newer, I guess, rules, laws, I'm not sure what they are, but they're also trying to navigate that. So then they don't know the answers. So then we're like as students, we're just kind of at a standstill as to, well, I don't, at least for me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay for these these classes. Maybe I won't be a full-time student anymore. Maybe I have to be a part-time student. So it kind of like forces like I don't want to speak for everybody, but it forces my hand to like really choose like, dang, I want, who knows, maybe I wanted to take a swimming class, maybe I wanted to take a yoga class, a self-defense class, but I can't because that costs more money to just even take that class. I have to focus on the things that are just going to get me to my degree versus other people like my friends, they're taking like different languages and that's amazing and I'm proud of them, but like I don't have that liberty to do that.
Yeah.
I would definitely say from an HBCU perspective, a few of us here go to HBCUs, and I think we all may agree as far as the finances of HBCUs. We all talk about the HBCU experience and, you know, African Americans representing and going to HBCUs, you know, but at the end of the day, HBCUs don't fund our education enough. And I know for me at Xavier, where everyone goes to Xavier pretty much to want to aspire to be a doctor. And that's your dream. I want to go to Xavier because I know I'm going to get an opportunity to walk into this room and everyone's going to know, okay, this student is from Xavier, they're smart. But then you have people who have to leave Xavier because they can't afford it. Because Xavier, just the politics of everything in the financial aid department, they play around with your money and they basically, it's a slap in your face because you're trying and you're trying to give all your effort. A lot of us here, we're probably the first in our family or close to the first in our family to go to school, and you're trying to make a difference in your life and in your family's life, but you can't do that because you can't afford it. So I definitely think that's something that needs to change with, you know, HBCUs.
To me, I don't want to make no accusations or anything, but I feel like they be money laundering a little bit, our money and stuff like that, because there's a lot of people that they kind of stole their money or come up with these hidden fees and everything, and it's like, where did these fees come from? You feel me? And it's like they treat you like kids until you bring in a parent or something or somebody else that's older to actually like step on they you know what I'm saying, they toes a little bit. And like, hey, this is not right, so you need to actually fix the numbers. And then once you fix the numbers and they go into the system and everything, now it's, oh, I apologize, I didn't know this was going on. And come on now, you only did that because you think you can get over. But yeah, go ahead.
I think that's one thing to remember is that like, I know I was just talking about how much I love my school and like pride and all that, but like, you also got to remember that these schools, like, they're businesses. Like at the end of the day, that's what they are. So like, just make sure you get your money's worth. Like I would think about like, you know, the fees that they be charging, like, oh, we got the infrastructure fee, the program fee,
The health
like
fee.
just anything fee. Like just that's why you need to make sure that you are like getting your money's worth. Like if you're like, don't overload yourself, but like if you're doing full time, try and take closer to like the max amount of credits. Because sometimes I think back on the semesters where I was paying like the full amount of tuition for full time, but taking like 15 credits when the max was 18. Like, man, I could have took another course. Like just think about all the resources that you have on campus and realize that you are paying for every cent. So go to that counseling office, go to this office, go to that office, and make sure that your voice is heard. Like like Deontay said, like sometimes they really be trying to play with you. So just make sure that you can advocate yourself, because you don't want to have to call your parents, even though sometimes that's what it takes to get the job done. It's embarrassing. So you want to be able to like say like you gotta be able to do your. I hate the like that, and like the like just sort of like the whole business, the red tape part of it. Like you got to send this email, and then you got to call this place back, and then call them again, and they'll get back to you 3 to 5 business days. It takes a lot of patience. I feel like that's harder than the classes, for real.
And it sucks because, like, if you don't have parental help, like, who's going to call and get on their toes?
Or an advocate.
Or an
'Cause
advocate.
I call schools. I call them. Some of them know me by
Yeah,
name,
yeah.
Miss Harrington, Mr. Yes,
Yeah.
okay. ScholarCHIPS, okay. I'm like, yeah, where's my receipt?
Yeah, because I've had to, like, advocate for myself where it's like, listen, this is my situation. Can I please negotiate my tuition? Like, I know this is a thing. I know this is possible. No, sweetheart, no. And they're condescending to you.
Yeah, no, that's real.
And then
that's real.
and then God forbid, well, she was being really aggressive with me. Huh? I asked you a question.
Sometimes I know I'm not in the interviewee seat, but sometimes you may have to go above, right? So if you're not getting it from the financial aid office, like the people you see, you may have to write to the bursar, right? Not that you want to do it, right? Or if you're not getting any answers, you may have to write to the president's office or literally walk to the office.
Can I speak
Right.
to
I
the
would.
To the manager.
I would say like even sometimes then like the infrastructure of some of these HBCUs and schools period like it's so corrupted. You feel me? And it's like really nothing you can do but just maybe call out for help and maybe a few prayers. But
They'll give you the runaround. They'll send you. For me, they've sent me to like one building. They're like, oh no, you got to go to the other building, and then they'll pass me along like a paper to give to another like office. And I've gotten so frustrated before where it's like, do you all not have each other's number? Like, call each other, send things over, email, fax, anything. But they don't want to do that. And if that does happen, it sits on someone's desk for like a week.
yeah.
And you have to do something. You have to be the Karen or like the aggressor
to get
to
things
get
done.
something.
I definitely agree with that. And I will also say I've been learning because I feel like if you say you're going to do something, people forget. We're all human. But I feel like if you have to keep reminding someone to do their job, that's a problem. So I would definitely say I've been learning from my mother, take record of everything, like written documentation, because if I talk to you and I ask you, okay, when is this refund going to hit my account? And you tell me check back in 5 days, and then I check back and you're like, well, it hasn't come through yet, check back in a week. I know you're playing with my mind because I know that a wire or something. I know I have direct deposits and everything like that. I know how that stuff works. So all you have to say is, I can't answer that question right now. Can you give me a call back? Like, don't give me the runaround about it.
One of the things, I don't know if this is just like, it's just not my school, but I go to a Big Ten school. UMD's a Big Ten school. And one of the biggest issues with these Big Ten sports schools is that they're very sports driven and very, very money driven. And they value their athletes over their students or their academic students. And there's nothing wrong with that. I get that's where they're getting their majority of their money from. But like, I've had issues where it's like parking situations. I pay $700 for parking annually. So like
Did you say 700?
700, yeah. So
Goodness
that's for the
gracious.
fall and spring semester together, yeah. So park on campus, but here's the gag. The lot that I park in, it's reserved for people that are going to the football games on certain days when there's football games. So I can't park in that parking lot that I paid $700 for when there is a football game happening on campus because that's reserved for the visitors that are coming and supporting the game. So if my car is not moved by like 3 a.m. the night before the game, my car gets towed. They charge me two $80 fees to get my car out of tow and then pay the fee for my car even being there. So it's like, It's very, very money driven, and it's ridiculous. They really value their athletes, and I understand, like I said, that's where their money comes from. But it's like, what about all the other students? I'm paying my money just like these other people are. So
My money's just
Well,
as green, right?
if you didn't know, a lot of the hidden fees that you see, like that don't have like no name, like miscellaneous and stuff like fees, like they use that from all the students' accounts and use it for scholarships for the athletes or for the buildings. That's facts. You can look that up.
The
It's
health
true.
fee.
So speaking of, since we're on the line of also like, you know, the money machine, right? The institution, tuition, fees. What was it like? Because I'm sure I experienced it, and I'm sure that some of you, if not all of you, have too. When you initially, when you saw the bill, and when you were trying to like, okay, you know, your all of your financial aid, your scholarships, and your Pell Grant, well, not the Pell Grants, but all these are due by X date. And then you go in, you have to go in that system and all that and figure out, and then you start seeing things like subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, and all that. Did you have any, like, did you know what that was? Did you Google it, or did you just say, okay, look, I've got to, you know, my tuition is 30,000 for the year, or maybe 18,000 X amount for the semester. I got to find a way to pay it. I know you all had some scholarships, but that may not have covered all the tuition. So did you just go in and say, okay, accept, you know, from Nelnet or wherever, or did you, you know, what was that process like? What was that like?
We're ready for this one.
We all ready.
I honestly, maybe I'm getting too old, but I honestly don't remember. I don't remember too much. Like, I think it sort of just became like a mechanical kind of thing after the first semester. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, unsubsidized, subsidized. Like, okay, I had to, you know, open a new tab in Google, see what that was. And I was like, oh, okay. I still don't even remember which one has the interest and which one doesn't. And then, whoops. Okay, so, well, that'll be a problem in a couple of years. But, like, I don't know. I sort of just, like, closed my eyes to the entire thing, because once I saw how much was left over after the scholarships and grants and stuff, I immediately was like, well, it's not like I'm going to have this out of pocket, so it's going to be a loan thing. So I was like, you know, because the student loan thing is such a huge thing that, like, it's so much. I was so stressed about it that I didn't even want to go to college. But then, you know, like I do with, you know, most problems, I was just like, you know, I'm just going to like see where this goes and not think about it. And to this day, I'm still not thinking about it. So
And you haven't seen, because you are the only one on the panel who has graduated from undergrad.
Yes.
Have you seen from whomever the loans were from? Have you seen that bill?
Yeah,
yet, or no?
they send me like letters and stuff, but since I'm continuing school, I don't have to start.
You
yeah,
can,
so
what do they call it?
defer.
Defer or something?
Yeah. So as soon as I saw that I didn't have to start paying on it, I just like immediately closed it out again. Because I'm taking out more loans for law school, and like I get like people are like really debt averse, and I totally understand that. Like I honestly really was, but then I was like, you know, there's really no other way, unfortunately. So I kind of just have to like take out the loans and then
Figure it out the rest.
Yeah, I like feel like a slight spike in my blood pressure when I get the letter from the Department of Education, and then I put it in my drawer, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't have any debt.
I know for me, in high school, my teacher, she taught us what it was. Like, she even taught us about credit cards, even though she wasn't supposed to, but she did, to kind of like give us a heads up about everything and how to finance and just everything.
And interest and how that works and all.
So when we kind of had a good idea of everything. So when I got to Morgan State my freshman year, my bill, the tuition was like 32,000 or something. So yeah, I owed about, after all the scholarship money and aid, I owed about 5,000 left. And
That's not too bad.
But I was thinking though, like, I'm already, you feel me? So I was just like, what's next? So I joined the Army. Yeah, they paid for it.
That'll do it.
Yeah, they paid for it.
That'll do it.
And I've been in for 5 years now, so yeah.
Wow.
Very good.
In high school, I was a part of a program called AVID. It's Advanced Via Individual Determination. It's basically a college prep, college readiness type of course. You have to have certain grades to get a part of it. It's a absolutely great like resource to have, but everyone can't get in it. Like, You have to have certain grade averages to get into it. You have to be interviewed. It's a whole big thing. So, like, not everyone can do it. And if you're not on the track that they want you on while you're in it, they'll kick you out. Like, your grades have to be above, like, a 3.0, things like that. And you have to be going to college. Like, they pride themselves on, like, 100% of their students in AVID go to college. So if you decide midway through high school and you're in AVID, like, I don't want to go to college, you're kicked out of AVID. They don't really support you. But they teach you a lot of those skills that you need. They teach you about the loans. They teach you about the scholarships. We did, like, our assignments were to look up scholarships and, like, have our teacher read over our scholarship applications, read over our essays. We had a whole class to do our college essays. Like, she turned the lights off. She let us really get in our zone to write our college essays. Like, they really push you to go to college and want you to succeed. So luckily I had that resource.
That's amazing.
So I was in college bound, and similarly, I knew about the subsidized and unsubsidized loans and everything like that. Honestly, they're all loans. I was trying to stay away from the loans because I don't want to have to pay that stuff back. Fortunately, I haven't had to pay out of pocket to go to school, but with that comes challenges as well. Like I said before about the financial aid, I got really close with an individual in the financial aid department, and she basically told me about all of the stuff that they don't tell you about with stuff like that. So something like, for example, a quota. I learned that every student has a quota, meaning that the federal government funds a certain portion of each student's education. And if you have outside scholarships, for example, those scholarships that say they're for tuition only, they can only go to the school. So, you have those scholarships, and then the school takes that, applies it to your account, and say, for example, like myself, I get Pell Grant. That gets automatically applied. And if you get an institution scholarship, they're like, well, you have too much money coming in, so we're going to take away this amount from you because you don't need it. But then they forget about, okay, they say that $42,000 a year, right? But then what about if something happens to me and I need transportation, or I need to get back and forth from home if I'm not from here? I need to buy groceries. I need to buy products that I may need, feminine products or anything. They totally X that out of the equation, and it's just becomes very, tiring, because you have to figure out, okay, I earned all this money, but I don't get to see all of it because they're playing the political game.
Absolutely. Did you
I was going to say that similar to what they were saying, I was in the National Academy of Finance in high school where we learned about loans, interest, and stuff like that. And then I went to a college prep high school. I went to KTC College Prep. And in senior year, we had senior seminar where they were basically, the assignment was to get to college. So you did all your applications. You looked up scholarships. And like Patrick Wu was the one that told me about scholarships. So that's how I ended up here. And so just things like that, having those resources and help along the way does help a lot.
Was there anyone who was not involved with a program who told you about subsidized loans, okay.
I mean, the Federal Department of Education, they have like this little orientation thing you have to do before you take out loans. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really paying attention. It was like, I was sort of depressed by the whole thing. Like, you're really gonna make me take like a 30-second course before I take out tens of thousands of dollars in loans? Like, I'm literally like 17. Like, I don't even know how to drive. So it's sort of like, even if they do try and communicate that information, like, unless it's like an extended program, and even if it is, I feel like it's hard to like comprehend the weight of that as a teenager.
Absolutely, yeah.
I Googled everything, every word I did not understand when signing up for like FOSFA college. I Googled and put everything into YouTube, and I watched so many videos because I just needed help. I just wanted to understand, and I didn't have anybody or like a program to do that. And I just Googled everything.
And
a lot of people,
that'll
like,
work.
their parents, I don't know if y'all know this, but like a lot of people, their parents be taking out loans like in their names to pay for their like kids' education. Like, I ask people all the time because I'm like, how do you afford your apartment? Like, I want to live off campus on an apartment. Like, how do y'all afford? They're like, oh, my parents. People's parents are stacking up all these loans, like, and they're uneducated as well as their child is. Like, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more resources to educate people on what they're doing in these loans. You're gonna have all these loans you're paying off for the rest of your life, struggling.
And paying them off plus interest.
I agree that there should be more education on it, but then like maybe it's just me like loving to stick my head in the sand, but it's like even if you know like what it is and like what it's gonna do, it's like I don't really have an alternative because I can't just come up with like $10,000 like just like that every semester. So it's like honestly, don't even tell me the details. Like there's no other way I'm gonna get this degree.
I understand that part, but literally, I understand that part, but just having like just understanding what you're getting yourself into, because like imagine you're 17, you have no guidance, you have no parents who've gone to college before you have nobody, but you know you want to get higher education. Just having something where it just breaks it down like those books, something for dummies, just like Loan for Dummies, just having something that's just digestible.
Especially, and if you don't know, like, oh, this has to be paid by this time or this one needs, now your credit score is messed up.
Yes.
Now, like, you can't do certain things. Like, there's so many things. Like, we need to know that type of stuff.
Just knowing, like a small little chart would be just so helpful where I can just know what I'm getting myself into.
A little infograph.
Yeah, because you're 17. Like,
Yeah.
I was working at Claire's. Like, what do you?
Right. No, you're right. Exactly. Yep. And think about what we were thinking about at 17 years
Exactly.
old, 18 years old.
I was going to say that's very important as far as the loans part, because at some point in your life, everyone's probably going to take out a loan. You know, that's not the bad thing. It's just like, I feel like sometimes, you know, you may take out a loan for your education, but then to put your parent in a position to say, okay, I'm going to take out a loan so you can live somewhere, like off campus, just because you don't feel comfortable exposing yourself to your peers on campus, I feel like that's a little selfish, you know, because those loans, they're not going to pay themselves off. And 9 times out of 10, none of us come from positions where our family is just like, okay, I can just pay $1,000, $2,000 in rent off top. Like, you have to really earn that, you know?
I think there's a lot of guilt associated with that too. Like just like my aunt, if like, cause you know you can only take out so much in loans, and so my aunt, she would pay off like the little balance that was left. She would pay that, and then I would be thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is like a huge expense. And she would always say, you know, like I'm doing it for you because you deserve it, because you earned it, because you're gonna make something of yourself. But it's still like a whole like, especially if like you're like in the first generation in your family, then it's like I don't want to be like the bougie college kid that like needs like $2,000 a month and doing all of this and need money for textbooks, need money for this, need money for that. So it's kind of like sometimes you think like, wow, like I'm really doing all of this. Like, should I be doing this? But then, you know, it's too late, so you just keep going.
Amir, did you want to say anything about how you learned about the Bonner Scholarship and all your experience with tuition and?
So, well, just to piggyback on the loan part, I'm really uneducated about the loan. Thank God, because I got 4 rides, so I really don't got to worry about the loan. But
And how did you find out about the Bonner Scholarship?
so I found out about the Bonner Scholarship through somebody who went to Tech High School. His name is Michael Nisby. He currently attends Morehouse College. So I found out about that because the senior day he committed to Morehouse College. So I reached out and introduced myself, told him that I'm a senior at Bar High School Early College. I want to go to Morehouse. What was the process like applying? What made him want to go? And what scholarships? And he told me about the Bonner Scholarship. And so he told me, he just sent it to me. He told me like it's a community service scholarship. They pay for it all 4 years. You get a stipend, and you just serve the community. And so when it was time to apply, I applied. Me and my uncle Lisa, we applied to the scholarship, interviewed, and got the scholarship. But it was more so like networking. It was more so networking. That's what got me the scholarship in reality. Just opening my mouth and asking.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so transitioning again. What do you wish? Well, I definitely want to touch on this too because Althea, you mentioned earlier that you know you want to try to have some type of social life, right? That's a part of life, but the college experience, right? You're meeting new people. Some you may find attractive, right? You know. I mean, it's real. So you don't have to get too deep into the details and everything, but I'm just curious how have you found navigating that? Like, has there been, like, as you're exploring yourself, you know, sexuality, identity, all of those things in a totally different setting that you've never been in before, How has that been like? And is there anything that you wish you would have known?
The culture shock part. I've had to teach my roommate how to do laundry, like just how to live. And this is something that like it's been instilled in me since I was young. Like I have a single mother. Like it's something that I need to know how to take care of myself. And I noticed like it wasn't just my roommate at the time. It was a lot of other people. Like people didn't know how to do laundry, cook for themselves, how to fend for themselves, how to grocery shop and not waste their entire money. And just that, like it's hard to connect with people like that because they've been giving everything to them. Like I don't want to call them spoiled, but to a certain extent, they didn't have to fend for themselves. So it's hard to connect with people like that because they're just on a different planet than what you are. So it's kind of like a culture shock where it's like I have to take a step back and be like, whoop, hold on. It's not just not everyone has my experience, so it's just a shock. But
Big on culture shock.
Yeah.
I didn't go to a HBCU, so it's like it was a whole different, especially growing up in PG County, which is a majority black county. Like I was used to being surrounded by other black people and not having to like there was just this sort of connection, like something that they understood. And then I get to like a PWI and like my roommate is from Oklahoma. And like some girl, when I had an afro, she asked me why my hair grows up and like doesn't fall down. I was like,
That's a legit question though.
I was like, I didn't even know the answer because I was like, I was like, I really don't know. And like, it's like, it's a very big culture shock, especially like, I was in the honors program and there was not a lot of us. I was very often like the only black person in my class. And so it was always like like we talked about Martin Luther King one time and it was kind of like, everybody's kind of looking at him like, oh man. Like, it's like, you have to like, the big part of the identity part is that you have to be able to be confident in yourself and know who you are when you walk in a room and be firm in that and not be performing for others. Because it's very easy to get into I have to act this sort of way because these sort of people are around. Like, just be yourself and the right people will gravitate towards you. Don't be too conscious about making friends or finding a friend group. Especially, I don't know if anybody else had this, but freshman year, I had like the biggest FOMO because it felt like everybody else was like best friends with each other. And fast forward 4 years, they don't even talk to each other anymore. Like everybody was just like super lonely and like super scared and they started clinging on to people. And unfortunately, some people get left out, but like, don't even worry about it. Just be confident in yourself and who you are and what you want and what you like. And then stuff will just fall into place.
Your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yeah.
Have you found, let me ask you this and we can keep going, because there are a lot of college students just like you, just like us, where, they grew up in a certain environment and they may not have come in contact with people who look different, right?
People.
While you're in college, have you met someone who was, from across the tracks, who you both totally different experiences and lifestyles, but you were able to bridge the gap?
I was like the only Hispanic person in the cinema program, and Hispanic woman in the cinema program. So in a way, like after the semester progressed, people were like, "Oh, she's like a regular person." Like, whoa. But like when we but when we would be watching like non-Western films, it was the same way.
What do you think?
Like, what do you think? Calm down. Like so after a while, like they understood that I was just a regular person and had a different perspective on things.
I think that's common with going to a HBCU because it's like very like you say all black people aren't the same, but then when you go to a HBCU and you have people from like African American communities that are known as like meccas, like Atlanta, New York City, Texas, like
Chicago,
those,
Detroit, all that.
like those type of places, and they all come together. You're like, wow, we're really not the same. Like even down to the lingo, and that's just something that when I got to New Orleans, immediately I wanted to know like what people there spoke, like how their lingo was and how they interacted with each other on a daily basis, so I can feel, connected in that way. Or like my friends from Atlanta, because that's where majority of my friends are. from Atlanta at school. So like it's interesting. Also establishing those boundaries, because when I got to school, I don't think I had any boundaries because I'm the eldest. So I didn't really have any space at home. But when I got to school, I'm like, I really have to, establish my boundaries, because people won't respect you, because Black people think, that's my sister, that's my brother, we all feel the same way, and that's not really the case.
In law school, I met this guy. He's like from Arkansas, and like just like a plain old country white boy from Arkansas. And I was like, okay. And then like I was like, I don't know about this guy. I was like, I kind of got like I don't know. I think I was a little paranoid maybe as well, especially going into law school where a lot of people are like so elite and so rich and stuff like that. I love this guy so much. Like we're in a group chat together, like a huge group of us hang out. He is hilarious. Like I was just like, I really need to like be a little less guarded. I've been a lot more open, especially because in law school, like the classes are so small and you're like with the same like 30 people for all your classes for your first year. It's like, and he's not even in my section. Like you just you get along with different people and you start to really go like, huh, wow, I need to stop assuming.
Okay, so since we just have a few minutes left, what is a nugget of wisdom that you would give to a young person who aspires to go to college? They're most likely maybe a first generation college student, right?
I would say getting used to solitude of college, because you may even have a roommate in your first semester, but you're out there on your own. Like Paramore has a song about ain't it fun living in a big world. Like you're on your own, and there's gonna be times like you're gonna feel on your own, and you got to be comfortable with yourself in order to be by yourself.
Heavy on that, because you're going to be questioning your identity a lot. You're going to be questioning yourself a lot. Try and get ahead of that. Like, go to restaurants by yourself, go to movies by yourself. Like, you do not have to be with somebody for everything.
Especially not a big group too.
Yeah.
You can be with several times with me and my best friend Rakaya, we went to Cheesecake Factory, or me and my other best friend Terrell, we went bowling, just me and him, or me and my roommate Landon, where we just walked to go get some food, to spend that one-on-one quality time. Like you don't always gotta be in a group. You can build deeper friendships with your peoples.
I would say join clubs, join organizations, get involved anyway. And if there's no clubs that's at your university that you're interested in, start your own club. I started my own club. We had no real criminology, criminal justice type clubs. So I created Justice Reform UMD, which works to improve the current criminal justice system. And I'm the president of that. And like you can do that, just get involved. Like you're paying so much money for your education. Take advantage of all the different resources that your school offers.
I would
Do that. 'Cause I done joined several organizations where, for example, I joined the SGA. I'm an SGA intern at Mars. So in Philly, in February, I'm going to Philly for free.
Nice.
And it's just a lot of opportunities. Like a lot of clubs open up many doors and many more people to you probably don't even know this person could be the president of the Mars Business Association program. So yeah.
To Jerome's point about being alone, prioritizing self-care and mental health. I had a very terrible experience my sophomore year, and literally that was the worst GPA I ever received in my life. And I feel like taking time out, just maybe going to get my nails done, or just listening to music and separating myself, but also pouring into myself, because there's no way you're going to recover from that if you don't actually, support and pour into yourself to be able to even, to be able to, overcome or persevere through that situation. So
To like what everyone else was saying, go to restaurants alone. I'm pretty sure at this point, like the waffle shop down the street knows my order by heart because of just how many times I go just alone. And like you'll find new places, you'll discover wherever you are. Like I'm in the city, you'll discover the city, you'll discover what you like, what you don't like, setting boundaries. And then slowly but surely you'll get confident. So my advice would be get confident in just being by yourself. Don't be afraid.
Take that jump.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to.
Life at the end of the day.
Exactly. Don't be afraid of how people are going to look at you, too. No one really cares in college.
At all.
Yeah, for me, it would be take care of your mental, join organizations and clubs, be you, and take advantage of each opportunity that you can.
Thank you all so much. This was a rich, deep conversation, very real. And I'm excited for young people and college students like yourselves to hear what you have to say. So thank you.
All right, let's do the wave coming from the right.
Basically-
1, 2,
oh.
3.